Getting arrested pumping penny stocks. In this video, we're going to be diving in to exactly what can get you arrested for pumping penny stocks and why those fellow traders on Twitter, those guys you see on social media, why they seemingly can get away with pumping penny stocks because of the ways that the laws are currently written and the ways that things currently stand, which could change. But as of right now, what I want to do is I want to make it very, very clear what would qualify as pumping a penny stock, and then an example of somebody who just got arrested for doing so. So real quick, here we are inside of the computer, and what I want to do is I want to kind of explain this really quick, and I want to make sure that this is a fairly short video, not going to take too long. But we have to understand is that when it comes down to pump and dumps, what you'll see is for the most part, this is going to take place in penny stocks, low float stocks, stocks that have, let's say, a smaller amount of shares available to the public. What is that going to mean? Why is that important? Well, all you need is a couple thousand people to buy that stock, and even a couple hundred people buy that stock at that price. And if there's only a certain amount of shares available to trade, if the stock's cheap enough, well, those people could start buying a good amount, and that could send the stock higher, which could trigger scanners and trigger, a bigger move. And that move otherwise wouldn't have happened if it wasn't pumped, in a sense. And so you may have people that you follow on Twitter, and you may already see this, and you may get pissed because you see these guys winning. They keep posting screenshots. They're winning. They're always winning. And you think to yourself, well, you know what? If these guys didn't have such a big following, well, they wouldn't actually be making money because what's happening is all their followers are just buying after they say that they're buying a stock. Now, they can get away with that because of how they word things and how they portray exactly what they're doing, okay? So this is something that's been going on for a long time. You go back, way, way back. It's not happening on social media, but people getting newsletters, people getting things in the mail, and this has been going on for quite a long time. But when it comes down to the legalities, here we go. What makes it illegal? Okay, so the Securities Act prohibits anyone involved in selling or offering securities to participate in a scheme to defraud. Section 17A specifically criminalizes making material misstatements, omitting material facts, or otherwise participating in a scheme to defraud potential purchasers of securities. So, what does that really mean? That means if, let's say, I go out on Twitter and I have 100,000 followers, or I have whatever, it doesn't matter, and I say, go buy Nikola Motor stock, I'm buying it, go buy that because they have this crazy new technology that's about to come out, or they have this new technology that is out right now that is going to revolutionize the world, and I dive into let's say, the details of how this technology works, which happens to be a misstatement. I'm not actually saying the facts. That is a lie, or I don't actually portray the truth. I don't actually portray their current technology the way that it actually works, which misleads people to think that it may be better than it actually is. That's kind of the example that we're kind of getting at. Or let's say you go ahead and you say, hey, check out this earnings report, and you go into the earnings report, you take a screenshot and you edit out the numbers and you make it look like they have more revenues or they're, the margins are better, and you do something like that. Well, that would be exactly this. There's some more subsections here talking about wire fraud and then talking about postal service fraud. If you were to, let's say, send things in the mail, material in the mail, you could be charged with postal service frauds. That was something that probably would happen, years ago. But essentially, that's what you need to know. So we had this whole GameStop thing, and when they went to court about this, remember the statements, everyone going and saying, I like the stock, we like the stock, we like the stock? There's nothing wrong with you saying that you like the stock and you're buying the stock. It's just that when you start to mislead, you put down facts that aren't actually facts or something along those lines, and you're misleading investors or traders or your followers. That's where you could be crossing the line. Which brings us to this example right here. Stock trader arrested and charged with securities fraud for using his Twitter account to operate a pump and dump scheme. This is actually literally fresh, a couple weeks ago. Okay, this is actually really cool. So we can see this is live, is happening right now. Okay, Stephen Gallagher allegedly operated a social media pump and dump scheme on Twitter to defraud retail investors, earning over $1 million in illegal proceeds. So here's the account right here, and I believe it was just locked so that I don't follow him, so I don't think I can actually see these tweets unless I'm following him. But if you go in and you can actually find that there's some fake accounts, people who kind of recreate. But that aside, right, this is the account from what it seems like from the information that we have right here. Roughly 70,000 followers, and it seems like he lost some, I would imagine, because this whole mess has come out. And he used that account to tout certain over-the-counter penny stocks. These are OTC stocks. This is actually sometimes, these can be more volatile than the penny stocks that we generally talk about here on the channel. I don't actually trade OTCs. I don't talk about OTC stocks. Maybe once in a blue moon, I might buy one, but you're not going to see that, let's say, in my videos, my portfolio. It's never going to be something I hold in my portfolio, longer term by any means. And so what he's doing here is essentially spreading false information and misleading information about these stocks in order to induce his followers to purchase the stocks and drive up their prices. He earned over $1 million by then secretly selling his previously acquired holdings of those penny stocks, and he was just arrested. So there's a lot more to dive into here when it comes down to this, but what I want to actually look at here is if you scroll down a little bit more, let's talk about the penalties, because this is starting to get interesting. So this was created in 2019, and from 2020 on, he started to do this, and this is where the allegations, I guess, come into play. Now, you may notice this is kind of going on, and this occurs. There's some massive accounts, way more than just 70,000 followers on social media that you may follow, and you may follow these people because they are successful traders. Now, it's also one of the things that they even mentioned here in this, I guess, this article, that he even, put out those profits. He showed the profits. And what does that do? It puts you on a pedestal, right? It makes you look like a better trader. It makes you look like you're so profitable, you're this, you're that. And so obviously, right, that's going to help his following, bring in more people. And then when he talked about the next stock, it's going to help pump that stock even higher. Now, I would imagine here that he didn't pump or, illegally pump these stocks all the time. He definitely probably had some situations where he put out true information, where he put out, hey, I'm buying the stock, I like it, and then also pumped the stock, and he was able to make money off of that as well. But they've found multiple instances here in his, I guess, history of him illegally or putting out false information and misleading his followers, misleading traders and investors into buying these stocks with information that wasn't true. So here it is. He's charged with one count of securities fraud, which carries a max sentence of 20 years in prison. One count of wire fraud carries a max sentence of 20 years. One count of securities fraud, which carries a max sentence of 25 years in prison. And one count of market manipulation, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Now, how long is he going to be in prison? Who knows? We'll have to see how this plays out. And of course, that will be determined by the judge. But that's his predicament right now, and that sucks for him, but also that is good because, you don't want to see this happening all the time, and you really feel bad for those who were losing money, and I'm sure there's people who in here who lost large amounts of money, lost more money than they should have. Now, of course, is it their own fault to some degree? Yes, because if you're buying something because somebody else tweets something, you probably should take a step back and do your own due diligence, which is why I made that video a couple weeks back on the channel already, so definitely check it out on the channel. How to do your own due diligence on penny stocks, a great place to start. Of course, expand off that, do what you want, do a couple things, look at nothing, do whatever works for you. If it's working, don't fix it, right? But at the end of the day, if you're not doing some sort of due diligence on your penny stocks, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage when certain things happen, right? Either there's things you can prevent in terms of downside risks, there's moves you can prepare for, you can prepare for a bigger move, you can have a bigger picture view. And at least when things happen, let's say the stock goes down because of this or because of that, you might already know that's going to happen, and you can position yourself to take advantage of those opportunities, up or down. But if you think the big trader that you follow on Twitter and you hate them with a passion, you hate them with your guts, if you think that they are going to get immediately arrested, well, they probably aren't giving you false information. They probably aren't misleading you. On the surface, underlying, I know myself personally through the years and seeing how it affects me, other people as well, I know it's really affecting people because they're just seeing the gains, whether the gains were made, truthfully or not, whether they're fake or they're not, or whether they were made by pumping or not, right? They're still seeing the gains, and then they're feeling that FOMO. They're missing out, and it causes them to go then buy what that person's buying. Just so happens that next trade won't work out, or whatever will happen, and you'll lose money. And so that cycle repeats and repeats and repeats with so many people, so many traders. And so I can see why people get angry. They hate these people with a passion. But at the end of the day, if they are not providing false information, if they're not misleading their followers and investors, that's actually fine. They could like a stock, they could say that they're buying a stock all day, and then they can just post the earnings report, post a company press release. They can post all that stuff. That's just showing and spreading the information. It's then up to you to decipher, am I getting in too late? Am I buying a pump? Am I buying a legit company? What am I doing here? Am I early? Is it already up 100%? Is it already up 20%? What's the risk reward for me? It's ultimately going to be up to you to make that decision. And so that's how I think a lot of people could prevent losing a lot of money if they just take a step back and don't get slap happy when their favorite Twitter guru starts tweeting about a stock, or their favorite YouTuber or whatever. Again, same story on YouTube, guys. You have to understand that a lot of accounts, a lot of people are so pro all these different stocks, and that has an influence on the stock price. Now, maybe they're good stocks. Most are probably not providing false information, but at the end of the day, you're still noticing these stocks can move based on a couple of videos and a couple of tweets, depending upon the price point, depending upon their float and share structure. Hope that was helpful. Leave a comment down below your thoughts. If you guys have any examples, let us know in the comments down below what you're noticing. Thanks so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, consider subscribing, check out our other videos on the channel, and make sure to check out that video of how to do due diligence. I'm telling you, it is going to help you and is a great place to start, especially if you're trading penny stocks. Free stocks, Webull, Moomoo, and Public down below, as well as a technical analysis trading course if you're interested, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.